Now, to briefly summarize the drama surrounding the Masters of the Universe Netflix show, Kevin Smith lied, He-Man died. I gotta say, I am kind of an outsider looking in as far as this drama goes. I've just kind of been watching on the sidelines. I'm not a big He-Man fan per se. I'm not an OG fan. This was a huge deal for a lot of fans that Netflix was making this new Masters of the Universe TV show on their streaming service, and it was going to be really well animated by the same animators who did Castlevania, I think. And I will say it does look beautiful. It does look very nice. And all of the marketing, while it created a lot of hype, it was very deceptive marketing. And a lot of that deception comes from Kevin Smith, who was kind of on the front lines for when the plot of the show was essentially leaked. Now, Clownfish TV had an insider who leaked what the show was going to be about. And Kevin Smith was pretty quick to just smack down that rumor and be like, it's not true. This is not what's gonna happen. He said Teela was not the main character of the show, that He-Man wasn't gonna step aside, and that Teela had no girlfriend. He said, oh, none of the He-Man characters are gonna be redesigned. They're gonna look like their classic 80s versions. And all of the Netflix promotional material that they were putting out there, for the most part, was just showing He-Man in the center, as it's always been. Showing only the first few minutes of the first episode where it's showing the actual He-Man portions, and not showing a good representation of the majority of the show, which focuses on Teela. People were even mentioning that Teela was not in the first round of toys that were being produced. However, the plot synopsis was the only thing that was being a little bit more upfront about Teela being the main character. Everything else was very deceptive, very bait and switch. Because basically, the plot of the show is that He-Man dies, Teela shaves her head and becomes a lesbian, and then she goes to save the world. I mean, that's essentially what this show is trying to do. That's not a spoiler, that's the plot. Now, Kevin Smith is being called out for being a liar, and he's dealing with it in a lot of strange ways. On one side, he's saying, oh, well, I had to, keep it a secret what the plot was for the show, because it's all spoilers, but it's like I said, it's not a spoiler. That's the plot of the show. That's the hook of the show, is the fact that Teela is going to be the main character. He also tried to say that he didn't lie, and his argument for how he didn't lie is basically semantics. He's like, oh, well, He-Man doesn't step aside, he gets stabbed aside. Totally different. Teela has a friend who is a girl, but we don't confirm that they're girlfriends. And he's trying to say, everything I said was so factually true, and he uses this one tweet as an example where he's just arguing semantics. He doesn't have anything to say about the fact that he said the characters were not going to be redesigned. He doesn't have anything to say about the fact that he straight up said Teela is present, but the show is literally all about He-Man. It's not like saying the opposite of what's true is a lie. Now, you should know this about me by now, but I absolutely hate deceptive marketing. And I think there's a way that you can, shock and add plot twists into your show without making it so that people don't know what they're getting into when they're watching it. I mean, think about other shows and movies that have had subversion in them. Do any of them lie about what the plot is? Remember the movie Sausage Party? It's literally just an adult movie that's kind of got a childish plot. There have been a lot of those around there. But when you saw the advertisement for Sausage Party, you get halfway through, you're thinking, oh, well, it's kind of a kiddie show, and then they start cursing to let you know, subvert your expectations and let you know this is for adults. And that's right there in the advertising. They don't wait until you're sitting down in the theater with your kids to find out that it's an adult movie. Even think about Doki Doki. Doki Doki was known for having that subversion and shocking people when it turns out that this cute dating simulator is actually a horror game. But even they were upfront about it being a horror game. It was tagged under horror. They even have a message before the game begins. Don't watch this if you're not into horror or if you're scared by disturbing images. People completely misinterpret subversion whenever they talk about subverting expectations. You're not supposed to trick people into watching your show who don't want to watch it, because then they're not gonna like it. That's how that works. I want to know what I'm getting into before I get into it. I want to know if I'm gonna like something ahead of time. And I don't want to waste my time being tricked into watching something that I end up not liking. That's especially frustrating, because at least if I know I'm not gonna like something, then I'll have my expectations met, regardless of wasting my time. And I've watched a lot of shows, read a lot of series that have ultimately disappointed me. So I can sympathize a lot with the fans in regarding this drama of this absolutely terrible advertising and marketing. And you know, I don't even think that the plot itself is inherently bad. I don't think the idea of He-Man dying and someone else having to go on an adventure to make things right in the world again, that's not inherently a bad plot. It's all about how you handle it. First of all, be honest with your marketing. Don't lie and then try to backpedal and say, oh, I didn't technically lie. It's fucking crazy that he's trying to say that he did not technically lie. Come on, come on, man. What he should have done is he should have said nothing, or at the very least say, you know, just trust that it'll be a good show. I know that our ideas sound a little bit out there, but we feel really strong about this. You should watch, whatever. But getting into the actual show and actually how it was handled, despite all of the bad marketing, you could have handled He-Man's death in a more respectful manner. Obviously, it makes sense he should be dying in combat doing something cool, but maybe afterwards you shouldn't have all the characters trash on him after he's dead. Especially Teela, who's supposed to be his friend, is just completely like a robot. It's like she does not understand human emotions. Like, what? Am I supposed to feel bad because my friend died? Instead, it's all about her. You know, man dies, women most affected. Or perhaps could you not have laughed about killing He-Man afterwards as if you were so giddy about it? Like, yeah, I killed He-Man twice. That'll make the fans happy. There's no need to respect this character. I'll kill him twice and then I'll be super happy about it. Even like the other people in this video, it's so funny watching their reactions. Like they're like, oh whoa, I don't want to be associated with this guy. He's gonna get a lot of hate for this, oh my god. And it makes sense that Kevin Smith wanted to kill He-Man. He basically straight up admitted beforehand that he watched He-Man and he wasn't a big fan because when he was a kid, he thought it was like for babies, you know? And He-Man was for children, you know, of course they couldn't stab each other. And Kevin Smith made it seem like he was more of a Skeletor fan than necessarily a He-Man fan. So, of course, he wanted Skeletor to straight up kill He-Man. I feel like it didn't take that much to put these pieces together. But it also makes sense. Because if he himself, as a person, has no respect for He-Man, why would he then write He-Man to be killed off in a respectful manner? It really made no sense to begin with why Kevin Smith was even working on this show. Why recruit him of all people? What's with all the false advertising? Why are you advertising this as being a He-Man show? It feels like if you had actually gotten people on board who were He-Man fans, or at least respected He-Man fans and the characters that were being used in it, maybe it would have turned out really super great. The animation is really great. But right now, because of all this deception that's gone on, because of all the lack of respect that's been given, this is now damaged goods. He-Man is officially damaged, and there is a lack of trust that's going to be permanently there. And of course, Kevin Smith is probably getting a lot of hate his way. For the record, don't contact him or anything like that. There are people on Twitter saying that he should apologize, and he kind of responded that to being like, I'm not apologizing, I didn't lie, even though he did. I get not giving away a spoiler, but the plot of the show is not a spoiler, it's the hook. The plot of the show is what lets people know if they're interested. It's also funny because he claims he didn't want to, like, spoil what the show was about. He spoiled Orko dying, which was a real spoiler. And he did that before the... This is so dumb. This is dumb. Even, like I said, I'm not a big He-Man fan. It wasn't my thing. I never claimed to be, unlike some people. But I do find it fascinating and I do find it frustrating because I always hated deceptive marketing. And the irony behind everything is also what makes it just so hilarious. The fact that Teela is more upset about He-Man lying to her than He-Man dying. Writing a character like that, you'd think that Kevin Smith would understand the backlash a little more. Regardless of everything, I'm sure there are still people out there who will like the show. The problem is that when you market it towards fans who are not going to appreciate the disrespect. And no hate on anyone who does like the show. Whatever. You know, like I said, it's not my thing. But I didn't watch the original He-Man either. And really, that's just all I got to say about the whole drama regarding this new Netflix show. I don't know what the future lies for this. In a way, it's been kind of compared to what the Star Wars Disney trilogy tried to do, where The Last Jedi was made, and a lot of the original fans were extremely turned off, but they gained new fans, and then when they tried to rewrite in The Rise of the Skywalker, they lost their new fans, and the original fans weren't pleased either, so they just kind of made everyone kind of unhappy. So it's definitely difficult to try to mess with it even more to try to fix it again. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the heck comes out of this. So definitely let me know what you think about the drama with Kevin Smith calling out Clownfish TV, saying he was super nice to them, and then saying that he never lied, and what do you think about the marketing of the new Masters of the Universe show? Do you think it was as deceptive as I think it was? Any and all thoughts, do leave them down below in the comments section so I can read them later. As usual, thanks for watching. We're gonna have more videos out, so stay tuned, people. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye! Program restart.